That's a home run. Oh! Jets just picked up their 5th win of the season. I don't think I've been here since whatever week it was when the Jets beat the Broncos. It's amazing, when I started doing this, just didn't imagine Rodgers going down in week 1. And as I said then, the wind was knocked out of the sails, and obviously since then, eliminated from contention a week ago, and here we are, 5-9. Just find it interesting. Now 13 seasons in a row without the playoffs. I remember that 10-6 year. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Todd Bowles. 8-5 win in Dallas, 9-5 win home, overtime versus New England, 10-5 set up a win and you're in situation in Buffalo. I remember as soon as Eric Decker, man, it's the wine. As soon as Eric Decker scored that touchdown, I went, grabbed my phone, went on SeatGeek or whatever app it was at the time and bought tickets to that game in Buffalo. Booked a hotel, called a good friend of mine, texted him, whatever, said, hey, we're going to watch the Jets in Buffalo. We're going to watch the Jets get into the playoffs. That Bills team was led by, of course, Coach Rex Ryan in his first year in Buffalo. Less than a year removed from, of course, being let go by the Jets. So, of course, he wanted nothing more than to do what he did that day, beat the Jets. And so that was the one time where we almost made the playoffs. And we should have made the playoffs, really. We didn't. But we ended the season 10-6. And then, of course, Fitzpatrick waits until August to re-sign the following year. And the Jets just weren't the same football team. And when you look at this, that next year they went 5-11. Following year with Bulls, 5-11. Final year with Bulls, 4-12. First year of Adam Gase, 7-9. If I'm not mistaken, that's the season where we won the final 6 games of the year. Yeah. Adam Gase. Second year Sam Darnold. We signed Bell. Oh my goodness. Follow that up with a 2-14 campaign where the team's running back was probably older than Aaron Rodgers is right now. Frank Gore. Whoa. So, needless to say, Saleh comes in. 4-13. Saleh went from 4-13. So here's the thing. Everyone's calling for Saleh's job, Joe Douglas's job. I didn't know what I was going to talk about when I started this, but now I do. So Saleh comes in after a 2-14 campaign. Gase is out, 2-14. Saleh in, 4-13. Last year, 7-10. I mean, it's from what I can see, right? 2 wins, 4 wins, 7 wins. If they win out this season, 8 wins. Not going to like it, but considering all things, considering what this defense is, considering who we acquired, rather, in the offseason to play quarterback, I don't know. I think you're reading this wrong if you want to fire the coach and the GM. I get it. This is not a winning season. We're not in the playoffs. But from year 1 to year 2, 4 wins to 7 wins, and now we added the extra game. We get that. What are you doing at 8-9? Firing the coach? Everyone talks about Cleveland is winning with Joe Flacco, and they are. Can't think of some of these other teams. It's another one. Right, Houston, rookie quarterback. They couldn't even play on the same field with the Jets a couple of weeks ago. You gonna fire DeMeco Ryans? I don't know. I know Philly isn't undefeated anymore. Thanks to the Jets, of course. But, they also are no longer the juggernaut that they appear to be. Every team is flawed. San Francisco also went through their rough patch. Dallas was further humbled again today by the Dolphins. That Dolphins team that just beat the Jets last week. When you look back at this season, everything that you considered an excuse, I believe in hindsight, will be looked at as being just what it is. Most weeks, the Jets lost to the better team. Some weeks, the Jets just blew it. You look at the Atlanta game, you look at the Raider game, that Chargers game, the Chargers are a better football team than the Jets. That Chargers team showed up that day. And, in part because they probably just looked at it and said, we're not losing to Zach Wilson. And that is not, something that, it's not disrespect to Zach Wilson, who I still support. And, I think he will only be gone because of what needs to happen with the contract within the next year or 2, year and a half or so. That's the only reason he's going to be gone. Otherwise, I'd gladly keep him as a third-string quarterback and bring in, Minshew or Brissett or some of these other guys. But to be honest with you, I don't think it was a wrong decision to keep Zach this year. Minshew didn't look too good today. Looks like he can't do much. Why? His offensive line looked pretty damn horrible. It's fair to say Minshew probably would look just as bad as Zach if he were a Jet. Fair to say most quarterbacks would look just as bad. But anyway, you talk about the GM and the coach. With the injuries sustained on that offensive line, again, everyone says anyone could have drafted Sauce. Anyone could have drafted Garrett Wilson. Well, then the same must be true. Anyone could have drafted AVT, injured 2 years in a row. Anyone could have drafted Becton, injured 2 years in a row prior to now. I mean, those two guys, healthy and on the line, Pro Bowlers. You add in McGovern. Dwayne Brown was phenomenal last year. I mean, he was good. until he wasn't. Point is, everyone, looks at the good picks. Well, anyone could have drafted this guy. Anyone. What Joe Douglas did to acquire AVT, to acquire the extra picks, getting rid of Jamal Adams, you can't just shove that stuff to the side. You just can't. This is not some franchise that was doing so well and then Joe Douglas came in and has underperformed. It is the exact opposite. This is a franchise that for a number of years, while maybe even they had a 10-6 season, were probably one of the worst teams, personnel-wise, in the league, year after year, coach after coach, GM after GM. And I believe, without doubt, today, the Jets have closed the gap between the best roster in the NFL, the worst roster in the NFL, and themselves. And that includes the acquisition of Aaron Rodgers. We can't look at the season and say the GM is terrible and the coach is horrible and leave out the fact that Joe Douglas's job is to acquire talent, to put the team together. Rob Saleh's job is to lead those components, coaches, assistants, and players. Well, he hasn't had an Aaron Rodgers on the field to actually execute Hackett's offense. That just is what it is. And I get it, Joe Flacco's doing great in Cleveland, sure. I think they beat the Jaguars, they beat the Bears, and they beat Houston. 3 teams that the Jets could probably beat right now. I don't know. I just you look at the schedule from start to finish, who they played when they had to play them, and I'm willing to bet the Jets had one of the toughest schedules in the league, including all teams, all personnel. But there's no doubt in my mind that personnel-wise, the team that Joe Douglas inherited compared to the team that goes out there on Sundays right now, today, with Quincy Williams and C.J. Mosley, who may have been here right before Joe Douglas, of course, with Sauce Gardner, with DJ Reed, MC2, not because he's the second on the team, but that's because it's his name, Michael Carter. Quinnen Williams was acquired by the last regime, if I'm not mistaken. Solomon Thomas. We lost Al Woods up front. The run game really suffered since then. Everyone talks about, the Jets are giving up this and giving up that. They weren't giving up much before week 6 or whatever it was. Whenever he got hurt, I don't remember. Personnel. That's how you have to look at this thing. Personnel. You go back and you tell me the 2016 through 2021 Jets. Personnel. Was it better than today's roster? And the answer is no, it wasn't. And year after year, the Jets were, without doubt, personnel-wise, one of the worst teams in the league. Before you even take the field, they were just a bad roster. And they're not a bad roster anymore. And if you just look at San Francisco, that's, you look at Miami, who else? Dallas. Personnel-wise, they've made moves. They've lost better talent than the Jets have had prior to Joe Douglas. But today, the gap is closer. you're a move away. Infuse this offense with Devontae Adams, and then Aaron Rodgers starts at quarterback. I'll take that offense. Breece Hall at running back, Garrett Wilson. Hello, friends. You're on camera. I'll take that offense any day. Aaron Rodgers, you give me your outside receiver, Devontae Adams. All of a sudden, Lazard as a third option behind those two guys probably looks good. Cobb as a fourth option probably looks good if he comes back. Who knows? But I'll take Lazard back. He catches with his body too much, but I'll take him. Why will I take him? Because Aaron Rodgers knows how to get him the ball. He knows how to use his strengths. The same will happen with the offensive line. Aaron Rodgers will know how to slide the coverage, where to adjust the coverage, or his protections, rather. He'll know where to slide them. He'll know what to audible to. He'll know how to make the hot read. That's why you want Lazard and Cobb, because they will probably be just ready. We'll line up 11 on 11. But you got guys in that offense that are familiar with the quarterback. I'm sure that this year we're disappointed. We don't like what Lazard put out there. Penalties, sloppy, drop balls. He'll look better with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, most of what I've said, I believe, will validate that when we look back at this season next year, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when next year's team is successful, and hopefully they are, this season will be kind of looked at similarly to the 97 Jets. Parcells' first year. Following year, they went 12-4. What changed? They went from Neil O'Donnell to Vinny Testaverde. The expectation the following year was Jets are going to be number one. What happens? Testaverde gets hurt. But then they still, under Herm Edwards, figured out how to be a good football team with Chad Pennington. I mean, if you just look at the coaches there, Parcells, playoffs. Herm Edwards, playoffs. Eric Mangini, playoffs. Rex Ryan, playoffs. Todd Bowles, 10-6. That's the flukiest of them all. I'll take any one of those other coaches over Todd Bowles. I'll take Mangini today. I'll take Herm Edwards. I'll take Bill Parcells. Is Rob Saleh, this is what we need to understand, what we need to know. Of all those coaches, I believe Rob Saleh is I think Rob Saleh is Eric Mangini and Todd Bowles infused. I do believe he's a better coach than Gase. I do believe that he can have the team in the right, place, like Mangini. And I do believe he can have a 10-6 like season as Bowles did. The difference is, would it be a fluke season against bad teams, or would it actually be Herm Edwards, Bill Parcells, Rex Ryan-esque, where the coach actually is doing the damn job? I do believe Saleh's a better coach than Bowles. I don't know if he's a better coach than Mangini. But Mangini's a playoff coach. He had back-to-back, not back-to-back, but he had a 10-6 season, and he had a 9-7 year, which they actually missed the playoffs, and that was the Favre year. That team, that was a first-place caliber team. They were 8-3, and I remember they beat the Titans, who may have been 10-0 at the time. Jets went to Tennessee and won that game. And then they beat New England to go from 6-3 to 8-3. Never forget it. That was Eric Mangini. That was the peak. That right there. 8-3. Had Favre talking post game. This is why I came here. And then 8-3 turned into 9-7. Mangini out, Rex Ryan in. It's very arguable that those 2 years of Rex Ryan, 9-7 conference finals, 11-5 conference finals, that should have been Mangini's run. Continued. Mangini had Chad Pennington, and then he had Brett Favre, and then he was let go. What if he drafts Mark Sanchez? We don't know. But Rex Ryan came in. He was afforded the opportunity to talk a good game, but the team was already really established. That's what would happen if we got rid of Rob Saleh right now. Someone else would come in, talk a big game, have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, go win whatever, and we'd all look back at Saleh as an afterthought, the same as many of us look at Mangini. But, I'm willing to bet that Mangini gets the Jets. I think Mangini, if that doesn't happen with Brett Favre, I think Mangini has a Mike Tomlin type run. I really do. We'll never know. But yeah, with Rob Saleh, I'm okay with letting him go for one reason. Because he hasn't won anything yet. Maybe he's not winning fast enough. But I'm willing to let him keep going if you tell me that the defense will be top 3, top 5, and Aaron Rodgers will be Aaron Rodgers. And he'll throw for whatever touchdowns, minimal interceptions, and the offense will just flow. And I'm even willing to let Nathaniel Hackett be the OC. You almost have to just see it all through. Well, nice win today. Not really. But a win. And see what we have on the slate for Thursday. It's kind of cool. We get a game real quick. And, I forget who we're even playing. Played the Commies today. We got New England in the finale. Who the heck are the Jets playing? How do you not even know? It's just the team's a joke this year. All right, Joe Flacco. Yeah. Hopefully the Jets go out and just put an end to this Flacco, oh, you should have signed Flacco. Yeah, hopefully the Jets just shut them out, just like they did with the Texans. I don't really care much for Joe Flacco or the Browns. You won a game today. You beat Houston. Draft is almost irrelevant. Win a game. Go win out. Go get 8 wins. Justify holding on to this coach and this GM. Go out there and kill the offseason. Get Devontae Adams. Get Mike Evans too. Get some guys. And go out next year and average 30 points a game. and win a Super Bowl. Well, Merry Christmas and good night. Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And the home of the Jets.
Is that going on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube.
Jumping that ravement just to look up. We gotta stay on 10 toes so they don't book us. And yeah, I got their ears now when I cook up. When we been winning so long, no way to overlook us. No.